All righty, everybody. Hope you're having a great Tuesday evening. Chief Meteorologist Ben Jones here. And let's see if I can find me. Good to see you all. Hope you're having a great night. We're going to do a little chatting about tonight's storm potential. I know right off the bat that we're going to see some rain tonight and a couple of rumbles out there. The question is, do we have enough in the atmosphere to actually get anything strong to severe going? And we'll have to wait and see about that. So that's the good news part, is that the threat level is low for severe weather tonight, but it's not zero. So it's something that we still have to watch very carefully. Here's a look over downtown, and you can see the flag waving up top here, and you can see the picture kind of shaking. It doesn't matter what sky cam we go to. It's all the same look because the wind has been a big story this afternoon on into tonight, as we knew it would. You can see here at the fairgrounds in Perry, generally seeing about a 25 to 30 mile per hour wind gust out there, and that'll continue even as we go on through the late night hours before the actual, showers and storms get here, past midnight to maybe somewhere around 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning as it's coming in. So let's go to, see, there's Perry. This is going to be Dublin City Hall. Flags have been waving there. So what you have here is what, prefrontal winds, wind that is not necessarily associated with the actual storm system as far as the rain is concerned, but it's a pressure gradient between the low pressure that's coming and high pressure that's here and off to our east, and that's just causing the wind to really funnel up from the south. Let's get into some of the particulars here for tonight. Again, we're going to call it a windy rain. So at the very least, everyone gets in on the wind that we've already had, and of course the rain. The question is, are there some strong storms in there? Let's take a look. Here's a look at the headlines. Regardless of what we see, it leaves in the morning, and then we're going to have wind as we go through the next 2 days. It looks like it'll be Friday before we see the wind calm down. 67 in the Macon area right now. As we look across our area, we're looking at mid to upper 60s with 70 still holding on in Unadilla and Cordele. Let's take a look at the temperature change, and we were up big time from this time last night, making up 21 degrees in a 24-hour period. And look at Unadilla, Cordele up 25, 26 degrees from this time last night, so a big jump up. And of course the wind map, that is the big story. And what you see in the white number is kind of a sustained wind, so 14, 15 to 20 miles an hour, something like that. But it's these wind gusts that have been going 25 to 30. Again, those aren't thunderstorm winds. This is all ahead of the actual line that still has hours to go before it comes in. And you can see as we look back toward the west here, I mean, again, southerly flow, the actual storms are back a little bit toward the west in Alabama. You get it where you can see it a little bit better here. So you can see that they have 40 to 50 mile per hour winds going on for wind gusts in Birmingham. And again, that's a lot of this is all coming in out of the south ahead of everything. Now, if you look on the radar shot, we don't see anything yet, but on the left side of your screen, you can start to see the lightning getting closer toward LaGrange, getting near the state line. Let's take a look at the big picture. And again, what you're seeing is a thin line, we'll call it that. So there'll be rain possibly ahead of it, like what we're seeing in Alabama. So there may actually be a beginning round of rain, which is a little bit different. A lot of times you have the leading edge coming in, and that's just when the rain begins on these kind of spring-like systems here. This one actually has a lot of rain, even in some rumbles out in front here. Now notice this is a tornado watch going on in the southern half of Alabama, and it goes on down in toward Mobile Bay. Now, that area down there is where the primary severe threat is. As a matter of fact, if we look and overlay on the SPC outlook, let me see if I can get that to pull up. You'll see it falls right into that level 3. So that orange shaded area in here is all level 3, which is up, 4, 5, 5 is the highest on the scale, so they're kind of middle of the road. So you're seeing some severe thunderstorm warning polygons in here. There's a tornado warning down here north of Mobile, but this environment down here is a lot more jazzed up for that than what we have here. So this is a level 3, and as these storms come on across, they will eventually drop down to a level 2, and then eventually a level 1 for us. Now that level 2 was back a little farther toward the south and west. That got dragged up into our area a little bit today from the Storm Prediction Center. So that just means just a little uptick in the potential for a strong storm or two. Now, the overall thinking, and I agree with this, for tonight is mainly rain and some rumbles, rain and rumbles. There could be some gusty winds, and there most definitely will be, but it's ahead of the actual line getting it. I know that's kind of backwards. But the question that a lot of you may be having was, yeah, is there going to be a little spin up in there, any sort of tornadic weather? Well, there is a better tornado environment down here, which is the reason why you're seeing the watch and a warning or two occasionally. Most of these have been severe thunderstorm warnings today, but we are seeing an occasional isolated tornado warning. Again, not expecting to see as much oomph once it gets here, but something we still have to watch as we go through the overnight hours. All right, so let's go from here to the SPC outlook without the radar, and you can see that level 3 down there again. So this area, where the storms are, where the watches and warnings are, that's where the potential is greater, and then sliding toward the east as we go through tonight and dropping down. Now, once we go overnight into tomorrow morning, all it does is just take step 1 and puts it over. There's a handoff is what happens on these Storm Prediction Center storm outlooks. I don't really like it, but it cuts off on one day and picks up on the next. So all of this is you got to keep in mind is this is green going to green, staying at level 1. So yeah, most people don't like having storms come through in the overnight hours, but the good news about it is it gets you into a cooler part of the day. You don't have up near 80 degrees like they've been seeing out in Alabama, and still will have some warm numbers tomorrow in the Carolinas. Notice once we get into the day tomorrow, as those storms progress eastward, they balloon back up to a 2 and then back up to a 3. So yeah, we're overnight, but we're kind of in the lower range of severe threat. We're up here in the low end level 1. Here's a look at Futureview. And it shows those storms coming across, the ones that we're seeing now. You can see them coming through Alabama. This is going to be around midnight to 1, if the timing on this model is right. So probably Atlanta down to Columbus, and unless it speeds up. It looks like it's going a little bit faster. The actual main line may not be here yet, but some of the rain and rumbles may get here a little bit earlier. We'll see. There is around 2 in the morning. See, it's starting to get a little closer. If this is right, then by 2 to 3, somewhere in there, I think that the Macon area will be in on this. And as we go forward, there's around 4 a.m., again, mainly rain and rumbles, some gusty wind, and the chance of a spin up, it's there, but it's low. So, I mean, I don't want to undersell it too much, but it's something we're going to watch. But I'm not looking for some sort of massive tornado outbreak or anything tonight. There is 6 or 7 in the morning. At this point, most of it's gone from the Macon, Warner Robins area, and it's mainly kind of Sandersville, Dublin to Eastman down through here. And then there's around 7 to 8. And what you'll notice is as we go forward into the day, remember how it goes level 2, level 3 into the Carolinas? It starts blowing up more over there, Charleston to Wilmington. And we'll just have some wraparound clouds, maybe a sprinkle tomorrow night, wraparound. But the big story is still going to be the wind is going to continue to hang around as we go through the next couple of days. All right, so here's the tornado potential. And once again, this tells the story. Okay, so remember I was showing you down here where the watches and warnings are. Look up on the scale. That's where the higher tornado potential is, where the dynamics are greater for that kind of environment. But watch as we go forward. It mainly stays Montgomery south and also doesn't look as impressive. That's around midnight. And then it never really shows anything up here. So again, does that mean that you couldn't see a little brief spin up in one of these cells? Well, like a warning that says severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible, something like that. You could see those kind of things. But for us to have a little more bells and whistles going on, we would need to see that kind of color that's down here stretched all up in our area, and we're not seeing that. So this lines up with where the watches and warnings are. All right, so let's go from there to the wind gust map. And again, this is going to show you where the greatest winds are actually ahead of the showers and storms, because the actual storm line at this point is back here. So again, you can notice that your main winds are all before. Now I'm not going to put these in their right places, but it's probably going to look pretty bad. Somewhere way up here. I'm just going to draw it here. So if you had a low here and a high pressure way over here, so the pressure gradient in between these two is what's giving us these really high wind speeds out ahead of the actual line. So the actual, the rain's all back here and thunderstorms and everything. They're not here yet. But this is the pressure gradient between those areas of pressure there, the low and the high. So kind of cool to see how that works. All right, so let's go forward. Same thing. The actual line of storms is back here. Well, maybe a little farther east by that point. But it's right along that edge. Somewhere in there. And notice how the wind on the backside actually calms down for a little bit, because most of this is all pressure gradient winds before the line gets here. All that other big wind that comes around the wraparound after the system moves through will punch back in, and you'll see how quickly this happens. So let's watch as we go forward. So the wind calming down a little bit as that main rain is coming through, and then boom, just like that, we get into tomorrow morning. The rain, storms, they're all gone. And now we're seeing the wraparound wind that's going to last for nearly 2 days. 30, 39, 40 mile per hour winds tomorrow afternoon out of the west. Northwest flow as we get into midnight tomorrow night, possibly still 25 to 30. There's a look at Thursday morning. Still the potential for 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts. I mean, it's sunny at this point, no storms. It's just going to stay windy. There's Thursday afternoon, still windy. And by Thursday night toward Friday is when it finally starts to calm down there. All right, let's go back up top and we'll answer a couple of questions. Let's see, let's get it to the bigger picture so you can see that. Okay. Chris Evans says pretty much nothing to worry about. Yeah, I mean, nothing to worry about, but just especially because of the time of night, just kind of keep your phone or whatever nearby just in case there's a warning. I don't anticipate a whole lot of that tonight, but I'm not going to rule it out. I mean, if you look back toward the west, of course, they are in, if I put the SPC outlook on there, you can see they're still in a level 2 back here, but there's a new severe thunderstorm warning for Birmingham. Again, most of your action, especially with respect to tornado warnings and watches, is down here, where that environment, again, is better suited for that. So we'll see what shape it's in when it gets here. There may be a severe thunderstorm warning or two. And like we saw just recently, you'll get a little pop-up tornado warning occasionally. Sometimes they don't verify. The Weather Service does the best they can if they see something that they think looks like it's rotating on a radar. And then sometimes, you go out and it was just radar indicated. It was never anything touching the ground, but better safe than sorry. So I think we may end up with more of the yellow polygons if we see anything, maybe a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, or hopefully none of them. Again, we're not in a level 3, 4, 5, something like that, where it's almost a slam dunk that you're going to have severe weather. We're in a 1 with a little bit of a 2 here in our southwestern counties. Again, all that to say it's not 0. All right, let's see. JD, do we expect severe thunderstorm warnings in central Georgia like Alabama is getting when the storm passes through? Yeah, once again, there could be 1 or 2. Hopefully none. But, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a severe thunderstorm warning or 2, something like that. And again, sometimes there can be a tornado warning, and sometimes it looks like it's a lot of warnings because it'll be for multiple counties, but sometimes it's a polygon, it's a warning for a cell that's just crossing through different counties, and sometimes there's no certainty that there's actually a tornado there. But just looking at the radar, it kind of hints at, there's a little bit of a spin. So, oh, Dora, don't be terrified right now. This is a low-end severe threat. This is not a high severe threat. So, let's see, what's the tornado potential? Jennifer, tornado potential is low. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot in that regard. I'm not going to say it's a zero chance. It's just I don't expect a whole lot in that way. Chrissy, I don't know what that means. If there is a spin up in Macon County, we all cover it, or will we be left to fend for ourselves again? Macon County rarely has severe weather coverage and alerts. I don't know about that. I can think of probably 4,000 to 5,000 times I've covered Macon County with warnings. I don't know that anybody's intentionally leaving that out. I'm sorry if you think that. We definitely cover everybody as best we can. See, Carolyn saying, what should we expect in Bibb County? Again, for the big bulk of our area, it's mainly rain and wind. But the farther south and west you go, you may have a little better chance of some gustier stuff there, with maybe a severe thunderstorm warning or two that you're seeing in that yellow area. But again, if you look on the storm outlook right there, again, look at the scale. Low is 1, high is 5. Where the storms are going and kicking it right now, they're in a 3 and a 2. We're in a 1 for the most part. A little bit of a 2, but a 1. This is still low-end severe threat. But notice it's not 0. Oh, you said Montezuma will get covered, but not ideal. Well, sometimes if ideal is a small area, lovely, awesome area, but sometimes if we're not zoomed in far enough on it, some of the city names, they only show up when you zoom into a certain level. And so sometimes people say, well, how come I don't see my city name pop up and this and that? It's all based off of the zoom and the altitude of that zoom when we go in. It automatically populates and shows up. So we don't have control over that. So we'll try to mention ideal, though, if we see something come through there, and hopefully there's no reason to mention anything in Macon County tonight. Holly Thomaston, she says, well, Thomaston will be one of the first places on the stop. That's always one of the first because you're the farthest northwest area. But again, the same kind of thing, mainly rain and wind. So, again, given that they are in, I say they, Alabama is in a level 3 and a level 2 here, you do see a line, steady line of severe thunderstorm warnings. So from Birmingham to Mobile is all one severe thunderstorm warning. It's actually 4 of them, but they've tied them all in together with 4 polygons here. It doesn't mean that that's going to be the case when it gets here, but there could be 1 or 2 parts in the line that are like, that one's flaring up a little bit, let's throw a warning, and we'll have to see if the Weather Service does that. Tammy, what direction is it moving? It is going east. The potential wind gusts for Houston County, or really any, the questions about Houston County, but any of our spots, 35, 40 mile per hour gusts or more, and most of it, again, oddly enough, is the wind that is before the line even gets here with no storms. So any of the, like somebody says their wind chimes are playing a tune right now. Yeah, it's windy out there. It's not from the storms, and it'll be doing that for a while until the storms even get here. And as odd as it sounds, after that main line starts to roll through, the wind will actually calm down a little bit. And then tomorrow, early morning tomorrow, the wind will pick up as the sun's coming out on the backside of this. Joel, what time will it reach Middle Georgia? So the latest timing, and different models show different arrival times, but this one which it ties into that question about Upson County a minute ago. So this is, let's go forward. This is around 1 a.m., maybe Upson County. 2 a.m. through, okay, so this is a new run. This one's actually slowed it down a little bit. So now it's more like Crawford, Taylor, Upson, Monroe, parts of Macon County at 3 in the morning. Bibb County, Houston County, 4 in the morning. But again, I think there could be some going backwards here if that looks weird. There could be some rain ahead of that sort of main red line. There's 5 in the morning, kind of a Sandersville to Dublin, Eastman thing right there, stretching north to south. And then all this that's, that's behind it, you see around Macon, those little red blobs, those are just leftovers at that point. 7, 8. So we'll say for our area, maybe 1 to 2 a.m. arrival, and just kind of give an idea of where you're standing. So let's say the Macon area, 3 to 4, 3 to 5 o'clock for the whole thing. I don't really think it's going to take that long for the main sharp edge to come through. And again, I see some people in there that are getting a little anxious about it. I've covered so many of these things, and this is in no way the worst thing that I've ever seen. So, but it is a typical kind of springtime, early spring, well, meteorological spring we're in now, as far as we're concerned, time thing. So. Alyssa, can we expect a good bit of power outages? I hope not. Again, this is not a super high risk. If anything, oddly enough, again, it could be these winds that are out ahead of the rain, that if you have some loose limbs or kind of trees in some bad shape. Oh, there. Are your sleeves up yet? They are. It's good to see you tonight. Sleeves up, but sitting in a chair. Let's go back to Max 1. Is it safe to be in a mobile home? As a general rule in severe weather, no, would be the answer to that. Again, I'm not looking for a big tornado outbreak tonight or something like that. The tornado risk is very low as we go through tonight. So it's mainly rain and wind with the potential for maybe a little spin up. I think probably going to be farther south for that. And once again, just to show you if you're just joining us, the tornado potential map, again, lines up with where we're seeing those watches and warnings. It's mainly down here in the, kind of southwest Alabama. And then as we go forward, notice how it just kind of stays down here. This is about midnight and then sort of shrivels down. It doesn't mean that there's no chance of tornadoes up here, but that is not a good look for tornadoes. If someone were looking for tornadoes, like, hey, this would be a night for tornadoes, this is not something that is screaming, hey, there's going to be tornadoes tonight. Again, it's not a zero chance, so we'll watch for it, but I don't see a big likelihood of that. Somebody, I think you've already asked once about driving my motorcycle. Yeah, by tomorrow morning you should be good to go. Depends on which way you're going. If you're going toward the west, you're going to have a pretty strong headwind. Kay says, can you show the tornado potential further east? Let's see. Okay, so this is when it was going by underneath. And just to show you, once we get into the storms are past us at this point, notice how it flares back up during the day tomorrow for the Carolinas. So going backwards, so we kind of get skipped in a lot of that, the dynamics for tornadoes. West of Dothan, your daughter and family. Let's say you said west of Dothan over in Alabama for your daughter and family. I think the majority of it is going to be maybe a severe thunderstorm warning for those folks, maybe an isolated little brief tornado warning, but I'm not anticipating a whole lot there. But I mean, it's something, obviously there's a better environment for that down there, but as it stands now anyway, the main thing that's being seen down there and along this line is severe thunderstorm warnings, which of course you don't want any of those, any warnings, but you'd rather have that than a tornado warning. So there's Mobile, and they do have that tornado warning right here. All the rest of these are yellow polygons. So those are all severe thunderstorm warnings. And goes all the way up north of Birmingham. Okay, guys, we can do about one more minute, and we're going to start getting ready for the 10 o'clock show. And again, I hope you're watching us on 13 WMAZ Plus. That 10 o'clock show will be streamed live there, and then you can always go back and watch it later as well. So we're trying to push more and more folks there, because that's really where this is all going to come together better eventually, is once we all start getting to that Plus app on your TV. Trust me, in the end, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's all kind of going that way. So anywho, I hope I answered a lot of questions. So I will see you at 10 tomorrow. I was going to say tomorrow morning. Alex would do one. The storms will be passed by then. But I just know that we'll be here throughout the night. I'll be here. Alex will be here. So there'll be somebody watching it all the time, and we'll jump in and give you updates. And hopefully this is just going to be a rain and a few rumbles, maybe some gusty winds, maybe an occasional severe thunderstorm warning or something like that. And that's about it. And we'll get on with our Wednesday. Have a great night, everybody. We'll talk soon.